So greetings to everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the topic of stability of dam or retaining wall. So under that there are some four conditions are available. So these four conditions is satisfied, then the stability of the dam or retaining wall will be ensured. Okay. So those conditions we are going to see. Then after we will move on the topic of retaining wall. Okay. So first of all, stability of dam. So the dam should be stable for the following conditions. The dam should be stable for the following conditions. So in that first one is by sliding on the soil on which rest. By sliding on the soil on which it rests. Second one, by overturning. So by sliding means the over the soil, the dam has been placed. Okay now. So due to soil pressure or soil seepage, it is going to slide like this. Okay now. The upper side and the lower side. So there may be a chance of sliding. So it won't to be happen. Okay. Then by overturning. So overturning means it is available like this. So if the water pressure is so high, okay now, once it is going to fill up, okay now. So there may be a chance of the dam is going to collapse like this. That is, this portion is coming to downwards. So this is called overturning. Third one is due to tensile stress developed. So we are discussing that is the sigma max and the sigma minimum value we have discussed that. If it is positive, then it denotes compression. Then if it is negative, it denotes tension. Okay. So better at all corners, if it is compression force, then it will be safe. Okay. Now, if there is any tensile force, then there may be a chance of getting failure of the structure. Since we all know that if the structure is good in compression but weak in tension. Okay, now so if the tension stress is high, then automatically it is going to failure. And similarly, excessive compression forces also is not to be allowed. Okay, so it is also to be restricted. So due to excessive compressive stress, so that is also need to be avoided. Okay, so for this under these four conditions, the dam is safe means uh, the condition is safe means the dam is also safe in the actual field. So let us go on to the conditions. So first one, condition to prevent the sliding of the dam. So for that the condition is force. So this to be happen due to water pressure. Okay. So the water pressure F should be less than F max. So what is F max? So the F max is due to coefficient of some friction multiplied with weight of the dam. Okay. So whereas mu is equal to coefficient of friction. So if this condition is satisfied, then automatically the sliding won't happen in the structure. Then second one is due condition to prevent the overturn of the dam. So in order to avoid the overturning, so we have calculated that some things. So this is top with, this is bottom with B, and this is height of the structure. Okay. The center of gravity may lie somewhere here. This is G, this is W, and here the horizontal force is acting here, F. So the resultant will come to meet somewhere here at a point M. So this distance Nm is nothing but where the vertical force and the resultant force is going to cut the base. Okay, now, so the distance is denoted by the letter of X. Nm is equal to X. So based on this value, okay, it is nothing but A, B, C, and D. This is the value of our, sorry, the points of the trapezoidal dam. Okay, now that corners. So with comparing that NB, so from this point to this point, the distance and the Nm value. Based on that, we are going to design the overturning. Always NB should be greater than Nm. If it is like this, then definitely the overturning won't happen. Okay, now, so some cases, uh, so some cases there may be a chance of this should be less than, that is the M value is going to stay somewhere else in the opposite side between AN. Okay, now if it is going to lie in AN, the resultant definitely overturning will happen. Okay, now, so that's why they are saying that NB should be greater than Nm. So this is equal to X. So this is to avoid the, this condition is to avoid the overturning of the dam. So third one, condition to avoid tension in the masonry of the dam at its base. Okay. So here, with respect to this, okay, so the distance from M to A is nothing but D. Okay. So we all know that eccentricity E is equal to D minus B by 2. Okay. So based on this value only, we are going to find the tension. Okay, now whether it is withstand the tension or not, that we are going to discuss. So to avoid the tension, the eccentricity value of the dam should be less than or equal to B by 6. And similarly, the D value, that is the distance between the point A to M. So AM is equal to D. So the D value should be less than or equal to B by, sorry, 2/3 of B. So in order to avoid the tension, these two formulas, that is eccentricity should be less than B by 6 and the distance AMD is equal to 2/3 of B. So if the condition is satisfied this, then the dam is to withstand the tension force. Okay. Then fourth one, condition to avoid the excessive compressive stresses at the base of dam. So for that we have one value, that is sigma max is equal to W by B plus 6 into W into E divided by B square. Okay, now. So this is for rectangular or the face is vertical on the water side. Okay, now. For the trapezoidal with the face is vertical. And similarly, if the surface is inclined at the water side, okay, now the trapezoidal section, then the sigma max is equal to V by B plus 6 into V into E by B square. Okay, so the sigma max value should be less than the permissible value. Then the dam should withstand the, that is, it won't go for the excessive stress. Okay, so these are all the four condition and the formulas. Okay, to withstand the stability of the dam or retaining wall structure. Okay, now let us move on to the retaining wall topic. Now we should move on to the retaining wall topic. So the retaining wall is nothing but the structure is used to withstand the soil, okay, or earth. Then it is said to be retaining wall. Okay. So the wall which is used to withstand the soil or earth, okay, is known as, or are known as, retaining walls. So definitely retaining wall consists of earth. Okay, now. So we have to, that is the failure plane of the earth also we have to know whether it is cohesive soil or, okay. Mostly it is going to happen in the cohesive soil, which means it can failure at any time. Okay, now, like that only, and it can have the capability to swelling or something. Okay, now if the water is mixed with the soil, and automatically it can get swelling. Okay, the volume is going to increase so that it can give some pressure to the retaining wall also, so that whatever the condition we have discussed, that is in order to ensure the stability, okay, now those things is going to happen here also in the retaining wall also. Okay, now, so the same way it is going to have the pressure like a dam. Okay, now in the dam it is water pressure, but here it is a earth pressure. So here, in order to find the earth pressure, so the earth pressure is calculated, okay, by means of Rankine's theory, by means of Rankine's theory. So before going to discuss about the Rankine's theory, we should know the two things. Okay, now one is angle of repose. Angle of repose. Okay, so this is nothing but the maximum inclination. The maximum inclination of a plane. Of a plane at which a body remains in equilibrium. Remains in equilibrium over the inclined plane by the assistance of friction only. Okay, so maybe the plane of failure may be like this. So we are going to construct the retaining wall somewhere here. Okay, so the plane of failure may be like this. Okay, so whatever the force, that is weight of the structure and the earth pressure. Okay, now here whatever the earth pressure is going to happen now. So based on this, it has to withstand. So if the withstanding is in terms of friction plane, okay, now then it is said to be angle of repose. Next one is angle of friction. Angle of friction denoted by the letter phi. So it is the angle. It is the angle made by the resultant of the normal reaction. Resultant of the normal reaction and limiting force of friction due to the normal reaction. So here the plane of failure may be like this, that is the friction of force of friction. Okay, so with respect to perpendicular, the resultant is going to act. So here the normal reaction is available. So in between that, whatever the angle, no, that is nothing but our angle of friction. Okay. So next, equilibrium of a body on an inclined plane. So the next thing we have to remember, that is equilibrium of a body on an inclined plane. So it have some two cases. Before that, we will discuss. Okay, now if the inclination of the inclined plane is less than the angle of repose. Angle of repose. The body will be in equilibrium by friction, entirely by friction. So this is nothing but whatever we have discussed here now, angle of repose, the same thing. So if, okay, now the inclination of a plane at which the body remains in equilibrium, then the plane assisted by the friction only. Okay, now the similar way we have discussed in the other way. So the inclination of the inclined plane is less than the angle of repose. That is, then the equilibrium by the body is nothing but by friction. Okay, if it is if it is greater than the angle of repose, greater than the angle of repose, then the body will be in equilibrium only with the assistance of external force. With the assistance of external force. Okay, so based on that, okay, now the external force, if we are going to take, if the external force is equal to P, okay, now is applied on the body. Okay, so the inclined plane having inclination greater than the angle of repose, okay, in order to keep the body in equilibrium, then it can have two cases. Okay, one is the body may be on the point, the body may be on the point, on the point of moving down the plane. Okay, so the body is going to move down means the force is going to act upward. Okay, second thing, the body may be on the point of moving the plane, moving the plane. Here both, maybe if the body is the plane is going to go downward, the body also will go to downward. If the plane is going to move upward, then body also going to move upward. So based on that, the force is acting vice versa. Okay, so for this we can have some condition. So if it is for one, the pressure P is equal to, that is weight of the body, W into tan theta minus phi. So phi is nothing but angle of limiting friction or angle of internal friction. Okay, and theta is equal to an inclination of the plane. Similarly, for the second case, P is equal to W into tan, since all are moving in the same direction. So theta plus phi. So this is the formula we are going to use. Next, we should move on to the Rankine's theory. So here I am going to tell only the formulas. So from the formulas, we can directly switch on to the problem. Okay, now. So we are not going to tell all the things right now. Rankine's theory of earth pressure. So it have some assumptions. So let us discuss the assumptions first. That is the earth or soil retained by a retaining wall is cohesionless. So that the stability of the structure we can ensure. Okay, no. So far, that is the reason we are going to tell that the retaining walls, whatever the soil is going to retain, no, that is cohesionless. So second thing, the frictional resistance between the retaining wall and the retained material. So retained material is nothing but our soil. Okay, is neglected. Okay, and third one, the failure of the retained material, that is soil. The failure of retained material takes place along the plane known as rupture plane. So rupture plane is nothing but the failure plane. Okay, now. So the both say so if the soil is going to failure like this, okay, now the whatever the retaining wall we can have, that is also failures along this plane. Okay, now it won't do like this or like this. Okay, so likewise we are going to have these three assumptions. Okay, so now I will draw the diagram. So from the diagram we can directly move on to the formulas. So here this is the trapezoidal shape retaining wall. So the base have the dimension A, B, C and D. The height of the structure is denoted as H. Similarly, the height of soil retained. Okay, now so both are at same place. Okay, now we can have the wedge. So the wedge is nothing but a triangular portion. Okay, that is A, ADE. Okay, now so this is soil. So here the angle theta, that is failure plane. Okay, or else rupture plane. So whatever the failure plane we can have corresponding to the base, no, that is nothing but the angle theta. Okay, now with respect to this plane AE, the force is acting perpendicularly, that is nothing but our resultant. So here normal reaction and the resultant reaction is available. Okay, so in between that angle we are going to call it as a angle of friction. Okay, now that is phi, angle of limiting friction, and the weight of the soil is going to act downward, that is W. Okay, So the total pressure is going to act somewhere here. So it have the maximum height of h by 3. So these are all the thing we can have, and the distance ED is equal to h into cot theta, COT cot theta. Okay. Now we should move on to the formulas directly. Okay. So first one is weight of the wedge. Weight of the wedge, that is at AED. So W is equal to weight density of earth multiplied with h squared into cot theta by 2. So this is nothing but the formula. Okay. Second one, the horizontal force. The horizontal force P exerted by the retaining wall. Exerted by the retaining wall on the wedge. Okay. So this is nothing but the formula is little bit lengthy. So I am going to write the formula directly. That is P is equal to density of the structure multiplied with h squared divided by 2 into 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi. So phi is nothing but angle of limiting friction. Okay. So P is maximum at an height of h by 3. Okay. Next one is pressure intensity. Pressure intensity at the bottom. At the bottom. So at the bottom of the retaining wall. So whereas P is equal to pressure small p is multiplied with h into 2. Okay. So whereas capital P is equal to density into h squared divided by 2 into 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi. Okay. So this formula we know that. So by equating this, density into h squared divided by 2 into 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi, which is equal to pressure P into h divided by 2, so that it get cancelled. Okay. Therefore pressure intensity small p is equal to density into 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi. So these are the formula we are going to use to find out the things about retaining wall. Sorry, yes, retaining wall. So this is pressure intensity, and this is the force exerted by the retaining wall on the wedge, and this is nothing but the weight of wedge. So this is the formula we are going to use. Thank you.